Good afternoon, everyone. The emergency special meeting of the Sacramento City Council will please come to order. Would the clerk please call the roll so that we can establish a quorum?
Mayor Pro Tem Ashby,
Here.
Councilmember Laloe,
Here.
Councilmember Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Valenzuela,
Here.
Vice Mayor Chenier,
Still here.
Councilmember Guerra,
Here.
Councilmember Jennings,
I am here, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Vang,
Here.
and Mayor Steinberg.
I am here. Thank you all very, very much for rearranging your schedules for this meeting. I want to begin by first expressing my, hold on. You can see me, thank you. I want to begin by expressing my sincere thank yous to the city manager and his team, the city attorney and her team, and the city clerk and her team for working overnight and through the night to enable us to get here this afternoon. Members and members of the public, people have been asking me all day after last night and how the meeting ended, are you okay? Are you okay, Mayor? And yes, I'm okay. But I am still upset and I am still angry, maybe a little calmer, but I am upset and angry. 2 homeless people died last night. People with families, people who were loved, people who mattered. How many more? Last night, I expressed my heartfelt frustration with the pace of implementation of our well-funded homeless strategies. Last night, I expressed my frustration with being bound by the rules of other jurisdictions. Simply put, getting people indoors, even for just overnight, fast enough or in sufficient numbers. We have called this special meeting this afternoon to try again to chart a better course. We must first set our own rules defining a public health emergency. We must speak plainly as a city family in a way that meets the definition of common sense and decency. When people are living outside in the cold, the rain, the wind, or in any combination, it is by definition a public health emergency. Today, I hope, with your support, we will declare it so. No more states of emergencies being defined by artificial temperature criteria. It's cold if it is 30 degrees. It is cold if it is 50 degrees. And it is cold if it is anything in between. Second, we will act today, I hope, to open warming shelters immediately and use our one-time surplus to front the money with the hope and the expectation that the generosity of the new Biden administration will reimburse us dollar for dollar for the money we front. Members, I know you all feel like I do, and I know the members of the public feel like I do. Enough is enough. We can bring the money to the table as we have, and we can set the policy as we have. We, and I know I, as the mayor, need help. I need more help with all of the essential follow through. Thank you, colleagues. And thank you to Howard and your team especially, and again, the city attorney, her team especially, and the city clerk and her team especially, for acting in that spirit. I'd like to turn it over to the city manager and the city attorney to take us through the specific action that is before us and what it is it would mean if we pass it.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. So I think I will start first. I'll turn it back over to Susanna to talk about the resolution before you proclaiming a local emergency. as it relates to people experiencing homelessness in the severe weather conditions. But provided the council approves the resolution as presented, it will give us the ability to do exactly what you're talking about, Mayor, and the discussion we had yesterday, and that is to open up warming centers outside of the countywide severe weather guidance criteria. But in doing it in this fashion, it will give us the ability to work with our collective bargaining units to move forward outside of those constraints. Be clear, though, that the county had worked with us, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, whereas the existing criteria calls for 3 consecutive nights of temperatures at 32 degrees or below. County Public Health Officer worked with us to revise that and support our efforts to open up the warming center with just 1 night forecasted below 33 degrees. That being said, it's loud and clear that the direction this council wants to go is to look at city buildings, public parking garages and whatnot to get people in out of the extreme weather. So lots of work happened today to identify a preliminary list of locations we can do that. I'm pleased to say that we're poised to reopen Library Gallery this evening with the passage of this resolution. And in addition, if need be, one of the other sites we looked at is the Southside Park Pool House, which we've used as a warming center in the past. But those two, we can open additional sites, but I think that we should have a combination of these types of physical sites, but also expanding the motel voucher program we recently started within the city outside of the county, the continuum of care folks. We use some CRF funding. So it would be my recommendation if this resolution passes that we do just that. Give our team with Daniel Foster, Bridget Dean, the ability to infuse some more resources to make more of those motel room nights available. And on the parking side, we've identified 2 parking structures, city parking structures, that we can start with. They're both pretty significant size. One is the City Hall garage. They have restrooms as well, and the Tower Bridge garage. That way people can pull their cars in. We're gonna have to figure out the logistics, working with our Director of Emergency Management, Daniel Bowers. That's a work in progress. We're also looking at a longer exhaustive list of city facilities. And you might notice that there are not any community centers listed on here. I mean, that's because we still have limited programming for youth and for childcare and other programming that we can't disrupt at this point. So I think and one other thing is that in talking to the mayor and some of you earlier today, there is a desire to take a longer term look at adjusting our severe weather guidance for the city, understanding that that does not unlock the resources that come with a countywide activation. So Bridget Dean is working with some of our partners in the community to make that happen and get some feedback on designing what these longer term warming centers look like. But please understand, this was as of last night and early this morning. It's still a work in progress, but so that I'm going to leave it there and turn it over to Susanna to describe what this resolution calls for and what it will allow us to do.
Yes, Mayor and Council, what you have in front of you is consideration of a resolution declaring a local emergency. As you know, you have an existing emergency for a shelter crisis declaration currently in place, and you also have an existing local emergency for COVID-19. What this will be is declare an emergency that exists in addition to those existing emergencies based on the severe weather conditions that are currently occurring and are predicted to occur over the next several days, and would authorize authorize the city manager to take certain steps to implement the emergency shelters in the designated city facilities. You have the authority under the California Government Code Section 8630 to take such action and designate, and then the city manager has the authority to deploy city personnel in response to that. If you have any questions, my office is available to answer any questions.
Thank you, City Attorney. So this gets us out from the temperature criteria and says this circumstance, this winter is by definition a state of emergency. And we can then go forward in the way that Howard started to talk about and that we'll get into more detail here today, correct?
Correct. You're declaring a local emergency based on the conditions that currently exist here in the city.
Okay.
Mayor, just two things for Howard. I think did you want to touch on the volunteers and the nonprofits?
Oh, yeah. So we've sent out a note to Mayor and Council and your staff that there are many different community-based organizations, churches and the like that would like to help. And so we're funneling all those requests through our Office of Community Response and Bridget Dean. She's going to be the tip of the spear in coordinating all those efforts. It would be great if you would forward any of your offers for help to Bridget so that we can coordinate and have a system in place so that we can call on volunteers to help staff some of these facilities as they become available.
Howard, also, if I could just add to that, if organizations have facilities, whether it's a school district, community college, churches, synagogues, things like that, that might be available for use, we'd like to know that as well.
Yes. So we have a couple of calls out to the private sector folks, and we're going to be reaching out to the school districts as well.
Hey, Howard.
Yes.
I don't know who it is or who it might be, but based on all the responsibilities that we're putting on Bridget, I think we should try to find somebody that can work by her side to take on some of this work.
She has an army of people behind her for sure. We're mobilizing our team to provide whatever support she needs, whether it be through YPSI, economic development, my office, it's all hands on deck.
Good. All right. Good looking people and great minds think alike. That's good.
Very good. Thank you, Rick. I see Councilmember Valenzuela Guerra. I'm looking for the raised hands. We'll get to everybody, of course. Councilmember Valenzuela.
Yeah, thank you. I do just want to start by acknowledging the death in my district. It's hard to hear and think about a woman by herself in her tent last night and what that must have been like. And so, I'm emotional. I've been emotional all day. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night. So yeah, just want to start by that and centering the fact that, she wasn't the first. There's been too many deaths on our street. So I appreciate the fact that this meeting came together so quickly. And I have some questions, but I wasn't sure if this was the appropriate time to ask them specifically.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I would, starting with the hotels, I'm glad to hear that there's a lot of hotels that are on the books. I'm curious about outreach to new hotels or potentially taking over. I know the county has some hotels that are in Project Room Key that are going to expire soon. So wanted to hear a little bit more detail about what we could expect. And I've got like 2 or 3 other questions, if that's okay. But the first one, I just wanted to focus in on the hotels. If how we could bring in more hotels, what that pipeline looks like. If we could be taking over some of these county sites, the folks who are in hotels now, if we can just start extending them through September, given the potential FEMA order. So yeah, Bridget.
I'll have Bridget respond to that too, but I have been in touch with the county executive, and the county has been expanding their motel voucher program as well. So we're going to be coordinating with them on what that looks like, so we're not stepping all over each other. But Bridget, maybe you could talk about our program as it relates to the counties.
Yeah, yes, I will. Hi, everybody. Bridget Dean. And I have Danielle Foster, who actually I have to give due credit. She's the one who's done a lot of this back work on getting our hotel voucher program up and running. Katie, you're correct. We have the ability to expand and use the rooms in those 3 particular locations currently that we have. And then we can also expand out to other hotels in the area. And I'm going to let Danielle speak to that because she's done a lot of pre-work. We had always hoped and knew that we may need to expand more. I will say real quickly on your extending rooms, that's simply done. We have great partners right now in the 3 current properties, and they've been extremely flexible with extending our families already out to more time and gaining that ability to keep people secure and safe and extend them out through a time period. So with that, I'll turn it over to Danielle.
Hey, Danielle, before you get started there too, maybe a good idea to remind the council and the public here, how quickly we stood this up, but more importantly, how many people we've served with this within the city's program.
Yeah, thanks, Howard. Danielle Foster, Housing Policy Manager. So we started the motel voucher program on December 18th, and we're already well over 200 people. We're probably over 250 people with, I think, about 700 plus nights so far. So we've definitely been expanding fast. And those are bed nights, so that's why there's overlap there. But we have the 3 owners, as Bridget mentioned. So we've been using our 2 owners, 3 sites. We have option from one of the owners has a 4th site that we could access pretty quickly because we're already in contract with them. We have also reached out to some of the hotel associations, motel associations, with the help of the mayor's office, thanks to Julia Burrows, to kind of preemptively prepare for the FEMA option. So we have also been connecting with other motels. We are in close contact with the county, as Howard mentioned, as far as both the motels they've been using for room key. They're trying to see whether they can extend any of those under the FEMA reimbursements. And also, as was mentioned, we don't want to take any beds from them, so we're trying to be complimentary in what we're doing with them. But there are existing partners through that program that are still interested in. So there are a few additional sites we could bring online. But right away we could, with the 3 sites, and if we add the 4th, we would have 300 rooms total already online and could continue to expand.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and also on the expansion of that program, the mayor hit on it earlier, is that we could use some of the one-time money that was identified in the budget and audit. We just we need to be careful because I don't know the rules on the FEMA piece, whether it's retroactive or not. But that's something we can cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, thank you, Howard. I think, yeah, I was on a few calls this morning and I'm glad to hear about all these sites in my district. It's a lot to absorb. I would like to be more engaged in this process though. I think we've identified a couple more potential interested hotels and talking with Mike Testa and others. And so really want to get super active engaged because that's by far the supreme option, right? If we can get someone into a room with a bathroom and a shower, I mean, like that's the dream. Another option that's come forward in terms of public facilities, Sac State. It's been brought up in a few different forums that those dorms are empty right now because students are not on campus. Those have, again, bedrooms, bathrooms, separate quarters. That could really facilitate some big use. And so I don't know if that's something I can ask you to respond to right now, because I know I'm just mentioning it in this moment. It's our first conversation, but I really want to see if we can approach and some of our alumni here on the call, maybe President Nelson and others, to see if that's an option for us to maybe get FEMA reimbursement for using those rooms while they're empty with students for the next few months.
And on that point, we have actually engaged Sac State previously with a similar situation, but we can reach out again we're going to do that along with the school districts as well.
Okay.
But yeah, the dorm rooms were very specific the last time we had the ask, and I can't remember what the outcome was, but we weren't able to access them. But we can reach out again and under the new FEMA regs maybe, or this declaration that we're going to make here that this council is going to make. But I will follow up. Our team will follow up.
No, I appreciate it. And I'd love to be engaged in that to the degree I can. I think circling back to public facilities, Howard, to understand what you were saying. So every community center that we don't have any community centers that don't have programming right now that we could open up.
That's
so like
correct.
The Hart Community Center, all of those places are currently have.
Correct.
Activities.
So what I did was we took a look at all of our community centers, and mind you, this happened, early this morning, and the team's been vetting, to see the programming. We looked at every community center to see which ones might be available. And what I got back just before this meeting started was that they were all full. But Shannon's on the call too, and maybe she can confirm that. I've not had a chance to talk to her at all. It's just everybody's been kind of working hard to get to this meeting. Shannon, can you confirm what I just said?
Thanks, Howard. Yeah, with us operating our SAC class program for youth, those are our main hub of community centers are activated. And so that's, kind of what we don't want to offer dueling programs just because of the amount of time that we need to deep clean for programs. But we've often used Southside Pool House as, a facility because it's not being used and it's, easier for us to manage. And then we have some of our other community centers that are leased by nonprofits. We haven't reached out to them, but the ones that we're in control of, we have active programming. So if it were, asked, we just have to do a lot more kind of diving into those centers.
Yeah, would love to help with that as well if I can. And then I know why sleep train can't be used because we still unfortunately need overflow hospital space for COVID, but Golden One Center, has that conversation been able to happen?
I did speak, yes, to the Kings, and they have a regular schedule here. They're in the midst of their season, so that does not work.
Okay. And then I guess my last question before I close, speaking of private facilities, I mean, I'm hearing a lot from churches and others who in our district, and we've been hearing this since we started our task force, that want to open up but can't afford to. Is part of this reso covering the resources that we could potentially use to help cover our costs or materials or what have you, related with folks trying to open up their sites if they need that assistance?
This resolution does not cover the financial pieces to it, but I'm hearing, like I said, loud and clear from the full council that we're going to be using some of the resources that we identified yesterday for these purposes. And so as needed, I will be coming back to council with actions approving contracts, agreements, and the like.
Howard, go ahead, Katie. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to clarify what you just said. So this doesn't include you getting the resources you need?
Well, to affect the warming centers that I just mentioned earlier, I can do that under my authority. So because we're trying to turn this meeting around quickly, we have not identified what that number is yet. I mean, for instance, we're talking about expanding the motel voucher program. I don't know what that looks like yet and how much capacity we have with the existing funding. But as I need funding, I will come back.
Would it be helpful to you in response to Councilmember Valenzuela's question if, for example, we added to the motion, giving you the authority, say, for $1 million between now and, say, next Tuesday, when the number can be refined? Does that help you in any way?
Sure.
If you need it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, why don't we make that part of the motion? Because, yes, let me get to council. Are you done, Councilmember Valenzuela?
Yeah. And I'd love to move this item after we do public comment. I know all that, but yeah.
I think Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Ashby, I think, was going to do that. She had asked, but whatever. We can all do it.
Mayor, and I just want to jump in here to remind the council, as you know, the city manager does have authority to act in an emergency, and he just has to then bring back any action to spend money back to the council for ratification.
No, but
that always exists.
Yeah, I know that, but it sends a good signal. And by the way, $1 million is probably going to be a very low number, because especially if we work out this FEMA reimbursement, we're going to go well above that, so that we can expand and public entities that can help bring people indoors in the best way possible. All right, I got Councilmember Guetta next. Then Mayor Pro Tem Ashby, Councilmember Chenier.
No, I think, Kitty, Councilmember Valenzuela had everything that we've been hearing from our churches. We've reached out to some of them. Some of them have actually lost power. So if we can actually use also some of our generators that we have in our courtyard sitting there. Many of the churches have fellowship rooms with kitchens already and bathrooms, and all they need to do is have a hookup. So if we can have that available, Mr. City Manager, I'm sure we can move those over there without any additional cost. And I want to make sure that the resolution allows for that. As well as I wanted to get a clarification, Danielle. I know we've got a number of motels like on Power Inn Road. Have we reached, what is our scope of the outreach to motels, say like the Comfort Inn on Power Inn and Folsom and a couple others on Stockton Boulevard as well?
So we did a mass outreach through the Sacramento Hotel and California Lodging Association, and I just got an update from Julia. We've heard from about 7 locations, but I'm happy to do direct outreach to those sites on Power In. We can definitely do that, Councilmember. And if anybody wants to be included in that outreach, please feel free to contact Bridget and I, and we'll coordinate with you. And same to you, Councilmember Valenzuela, if you want us to include you in the outreach as well.
Yeah, I
The
think
other
it's
piece
an-
oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
The other piece I forgot to mention is we do have the 25 trailers that we've now are transitioning over to sheltering for families, women and children. So we are moving folks out of our motel vouchers and freeing up space there to put into the Cal Expo trailers.
Before I get it back to Eric for just a sec, I just got a call from a very important leader at the county, member of the Board of Supervisors, who indicated to me that she is working with their team and have reached out to the library authority, to RIFCA, to see if we can together access libraries as well. So let's put that on the list. And I just want to say, since, I just want to thank the county and certainly Chair Frost for reaching out. Really appreciate it. That's exactly all we want is partnership. Go ahead, Eric.
And also my office is reaching out to President Nelson, and I've reached out to President Nelson as well to find that out. I do know that when we asked for emergency housing last time, a lot of it's dictated by Long Beach and what happens at Golden Shore from the Chancellor's office. But maybe there's something under an emergency order that gives them some more flexibility. So this, and we'll let them know that what we're declaring a local emergency order here as well. And then lastly, I think, within that order, within that budget allocation, one of the things that may be necessary also is if we could use something for food or other necessities as people come into those facilities. Again, if we're going to have facilities where we might have some kitchen space or at least some different amenities that we'd be able to provide any of the life necessary things such as food, water, along with the shelter here. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I was going to move it, but I think Councilmember Valenzuela was going to move it. But then you mentioned somebody else is going to move it, so I'll second it. And if no one seconds it, then
Okay.
I'll be there.
We will make sure that everybody is a seconder of this motion. Okay, let me turn it over to Angelique. Go ahead.
Councilman Garrett, just on that point too, again, been talking with the county, and we will be providing light snacks and water. The county is going to be providing some supplies, blankets, and the like. So we are working closely with them on this.
Yeah, sorry, I just found a note here that I forgot to mention here. So one of the challenges has been also any kind of basic or quick storage space or of whatnot for materials and equipment of belongings. And in order to use those facilities, if there's any of those, the quick sheds, I know in our industrial area, there's a lot of providers of the quick sheds. If there's any of that nature that can be quickly pulled around, or if we have it in our courtyard, could we use those facilities? That would be helpful.
As part of the activations at Library Galleria the last 2 times, we've accommodated personal property, pets, and storage as well. So we have a plan in place. Our team with emergency services, they have it dialed in. So yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead, Angelique, please.
Thanks, Mayor, and thanks, colleagues, and thanks for letting me make the motion. My only reason for doing so is to get the language exactly right for the city attorney, since it is an emergency meeting and an emergency resolution. So, but first I had a couple of comments, and then I'll come back and I'll try to wrap in the things that Councilmember Guerra and Valenzuela have offered in addition to for the motion. First of all, I just would like to direct the city manager, and I'll do this as part of the motion. In addition to us adding in number of days and number of vouchers, I would like to ask you to reach out specifically to the county and ask them to do the same. I know that they have added some vouchers. I would like you to talk to them about adding days to those vouchers and also adding numbers of vouchers, meaning increasing the dollar amount they're spending on those vouchers to as another mechanism for helping us out. And then I just want to reiterate what I think I'm hearing you all say and what I'm hearing, I think the council say, which is that you are going to open at least one warming center at the Galleria tonight, followed by a second warming center when it's needed at Southside Park. In the meantime, we'll look at other facilities that may or may not be available, but may require a deeper dive from our city staff to figure out the possibility of their usage. 2 parking lots, as Vice Mayor Chenier suggested, with bathrooms. Those are the 2 sites that have bathrooms, so folks could park if they were in a car, be a little bit safer there. You're adding to the vouchers for the city and going to ask the county to do the same. Going to move forward on a new policy for extreme weather for the city so that we can untie ourselves from the county once and for all. Madam City Attorney, my understanding is that you are already doing research on Santa Cruz, Chico, and Santa Clara cities that have all already followed this process. This is at the recommendation of the mayor so that the council has more autonomy and is untethered from other government agencies when we need to move forward. And then, as Councilmember Valenzuela has indicated, and I believe I have heard from others, we're going to add $1 million of authority to you here, City Manager, so that you can not only have the resources you need for the warming centers that will be open on city property, but so that as nonprofits and churches reach out to you and need something minor for funding, like Councilmember Guerra has suggested, like a generator or maybe blankets or maybe partitions, that you would then use that discretion and look at what's available there and their ability to open up those facilities and give them the resources. I also hear you saying that you will support Bridget Dean and her office in pulling together a mechanism to coordinate volunteers, and that all of us, as people reach out and want to volunteer, will send those folks to Bridget's office by way of email. And there will be a coordination effort there so that people can be involved, whether that's donating, dropping off food, blankets, warm socks, or coming down and actually helping. But then they will be given some type of training on COVID appropriateness, because we are still in the middle of a pandemic and we don't want to jeopardize people's health any further than we already are. This is extremely important to get people inside, but we want to do it in the safest way that we possibly can. I hear you saying that the county has already agreed to help us with some blankets, food, and water. I hear your council asking you to find some solutions on storage. I know we have done this in the past. Loaves and Fishes has been helpful on this front in the past. I assume you will follow through on that piece. And so my motion will be to adopt the resolution in front of us, add the direction previously given just now to the city manager, including the $1 million of authority, and the direction to reach out to the county to match us on additional vouchers. Okay.
I'll
will
second that.
I'll make Councilmember Guerra the co-seconder as well. So 2 seconders. That's the new
It can
rule.
be a group motion if you'd like.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Rick, anybody wants to be a seconder, you're on it. Okay, I've got Councilmember Chenier, Harris, and Laloy.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm happy to third the motion, so I can be unique on that one. I have one piece of direction that I would ask the Pro Tem if she'll add to her motion, and then one shout out actually that I'd like to do. As we move, and I know Howard, thank you, Susanna, thank you, and Chris and Bridget and everybody working on this, we're moving really quickly on it at this point, which is necessary. I want to make sure that as we implement, we hear the voices of some of the folks who are directly impacted by this. So what I'd like to do, Pro Tem, if you're willing to add this in, is that we ask the city manager to put together a very small advisory group. I'm thinking of people like who represent Loaves and Fishes, City of Refuge, John Foley, Terry from Cash, those types of individuals who are working day to day in the trenches, but can help us think through the outreach activities, where these need to go across the city, questions that we have, so that we can do this in collaboration with that group. rather than just do it and then ask them in later. So I would ask that you add that in as direction to the city manager.
Vice Mayor, I hear you saying Joe Smith from Loaves and Fishes, Terry Galvin from Cash, Rochelle Ditmore from City of Refuge, and there was one more that you said, John Foley.
John Foley, and it doesn't have to be those. I mean,
Mhm.
those are the types of folks that have been working at this for many, many years and know the neighborhoods well.
I think
So
those
I
are
would-
good
I would-
ones. And
Yeah,
VOA,
no, I think they're
is
great.
another.
There are others. I would
Yeah.
leave it up to Bridget and the city manager of who
Okay.
they should.
And probably VOA, since they've helped us do this a few times in the past. Howard, but
Amani
yes,
from
absolutely.
VOA would be great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and the homeless union in Sac-Soup as well.
The
So
shout
yes,
out I
added.
want to give.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Mhm.
The shout out I want to give is for City of Refuge and St. Paul. Rick, you can take pride in this one as always for your church. They have already agreed to take 20 people. It will be 2 to a table, sleeping 10 feet apart. Invites will come through Cash and City of Refuge to do it. They'll get breakfast and dinner, as well as showers, and their hours will be from 5 p.m. To 9 a.m. exit, 5 p.m. intake to 9 a.m. exit. I know that Meadowview Navigation Center is already full, so this gives us another option, at least for 20 individuals to add in. And my hope is that there are other faith institutions in our city who will follow suit. So a big shout out, Lamont Harris. Thank you very much. Appreciate what you're doing, and that your church, as always, is leading the effort and showing what can be done when we collaborate with our faith institutions. That's all I got. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilman Vice Mayor. Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. I didn't hear Sacramento Act mentioned, but of course, they are an organization that we've partnered with often. Danielle, I'm wondering, did you reach out to Drew at Econo Lodge Northgate? You did. Okay, great.
That's
And
one of
then-
our, oh, sorry, that's one of our existing sites, and he's been a great owner to work with. So yeah, we're working with them.
Great. Another possibility is Stanford Settlement, who we have partnered with in the past for Winter Sanctuary. So my office has reached out to Julie. We haven't heard back yet, but put that one in the hopper as well. They were really a great partner for Winter Sanctuary a couple of winters ago. You know, I wonder.
Jeff, can I just say that's a great idea. If we could get the whole list of Winter Sanctuary institutions and try to get in contact with them, that should be a no-brainer. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming that Bridget and Danielle know most of these, suggestions. They've worked in the space a long time, but it doesn't hurt to bring them up in public session. My question to Howard is, what is the situation? Twofold question. One about COVID distancing and how that affects capacity. And the second is about transportation. If people have to walk to these warming centers, that's problematic because they're all over the city. And, I'm wondering what thought has been given to those two subjects.
So on the first point with COVID, we've been working with the county public health officer to make sure that when we open these warming centers, that we have all the safety precautions in place, adhering to the CDC guidelines. For instance, at the Library Galleria, Daniel's on the phone too, but we're spacing folks up 12 feet apart, I think it is, with partitions, mask, disinfectant. So it does limit the amount of people we can get into any facility. I mean, for instance, Meadowview is at 50%. Grove Avenue, same way. Our North Fifth shelter, same thing. As opposed to 100 and some odd beds, we're cut in half. So it does diminish the capacity in those sites. And with transportation, I'll let Bridget kind of chime in. We had some thoughts maybe on, when we did this in the past. I think Jay, you talked about some RT passes. We had some shuttles the last time we opened up Southside Pool House. Shannon, do you recall what we did with the transportation piece?
Hi, Howard. Yes, I do recall. What we ended up doing was contracting with Yellow Cab
That's
taxi
right.
service. Yeah, and so we coordinated a pickup and a drop off at Loaves and Fishes, so they had a warm meal to go to in the morning. Other coordinated efforts didn't quite work out as well as the Yellow Cab did, so that's what we used.
That's
So
right.
Shannon or Howard, would that be a possibility given COVID? You know, I mean, transportation is a lot trickier now. So any thoughts on that? I see Bridget nodding her head.
Bridget?
I think that that's a good point, Jeff, that we do have to be concerned about that. We've tried a couple different programs where we've used some Uber, Lyft, or other type of model, and they have refused to pick up at certain times. Having said that, I think Danielle and the hospitals are employing a transportation model, and Danielle, I don't know if you know the name of that entity, but that's been successful. And then I know the county has had to work hard to create one. I can reach out to Julie Field and find out how they've done it for their room key, because they actually went through a lot of hiccups and then finally figured it out. So I'll reach out to them and get that established. But transportation and transportation of property are going to be essential in this. And then we have to remember that if an individual has an animal or pet, that's also part of the process that we're dealing with.
Yeah, thank you for that. I just wanted to bring up First Step Communities as another willing partner. You know, this is great to give temporary respite, but as we all know, and especially the mayor, we're looking for long-term solutions and places to do this as part of the master plan. And I'm encouraged that things are working well at Cal Expo. I still see that as a great opportunity site in my district and hope that we can free up more space there. But I'm glad to hear that the balance of 25 trailers are going to be used with efficacy, Danielle. So thank you very much for that piece. The last thing I wanted to say, Mayor, is about the criteria by which the city will now embrace winter sanctuary. I take it we will be talking about temperature, wind chill factor, things like this, but we are going to need some kind of definition.
Well, I can tell you, and I agree with you, but this is an opportunity for me to sort of say what I was going to say, which is, I think that is appropriate as we think about next winter, but this winter, for example, it is my expectation and it's my hope that the Library Galleria, for example, we will keep open every night until the end of winter. And that these other facilities that we are opening, that we will make the commitment to keep them open every night through the winter. And I understand we need some flexibility and logistics are challenging, but let's remember, all signs point to the federal government under President Biden reimbursing us 100%. So 1 million is actually too low of a number to give to Howard. And when we come back next Tuesday, I anticipate that number is going to grow. If it's 5 million to have multiple warming centers throughout our community, public and private, that we front the resources for, again, hopefully with the help of our county, knowing we're going to get reimbursed 100%, there is no reason other than the difficulty of the work, which I'm not underestimating here, that we shouldn't keep these centers open all winter, because the switch on and switch off is not right. Because what are we going to have a debate about whether it's 42, 41, 37? As I said in my opening comments, it's cold and it's winter. End of story as far as I'm concerned. Next winter, as we continue to develop our partnerships with the county and we have a more integrated system and we get more people into permanent housing, as you rightfully called out, Jeff, then maybe that's a different story. I don't know if everyone agrees with me, but that's what I think.
So my last comment is this, we've long known about mortality rates amongst the homeless. Bob Erlenbush has pointed it out every year that we lose on average about 2 people a week outdoors. It's a lot of folks. There are many reasons that they perish. Some have terminal illnesses, some get flus, there's lots of things. I just wanted to acknowledge also loss of life last evening at the cusp of Eric's district and mine at Howe and Fair Oaks, an individual perished just laying on the ground in the cold. And, you know, Mayor, I have to tell you, it's kind of a personal story, but you know, I'm building an ADU and it's under tarps, and I was up all night battling the wind and the rain trying to save my building. It was cold. There's no doubt about it. I got very, very cold doing that. And so I understand your passion and your argument about that. It's really, those kind of conditions are very hard to survive in outdoors.
Last night, by the way, thank you, Jeff. Last night was 42 degrees.
Yeah, I know. It was
So,
relatively
you know,
warm.
so we set this at 40. We're gonna do that same artificial line in the sand, and it wouldn't cover last night. No way. No way. Councilmember Valenzuela.
Yes, thank you. I just want to acknowledge that Sharna, from President and CEO of YMCA, is also offering their premise. So thank you, Sharna, for that. I think we'll be in quick communication with Bridget and Danielle about sites in our district, which makes me excited because we know we've got a lot of folks that we got to help take care of. I do want to ask a thing that came to me as folks were texting, like, how do I know? Where do we go? What do we do? I want to make sure this gets to 311. Like, can we like establish some sort of like clear like point of entry where people know there's like one spot they can call and they're going to know where they can go and what hours they're open. And so I'm sure that's already on the list, as well as some sort of web page. But I can see a lot of chaos coming from a lot of folks who really want to help and get folks to a place where they'll be safe. So I wanted to also raise that as well. Thank you.
That's a
And
great
also,
comment.
sorry, I just have to say like a quick, I just have to say thank you to the folks who were out last night as well. I'm getting a lot of texts from advocates right now who are out there trying to get people blankets, trying to get people tarps, trying to get people tents. And I just have to acknowledge the amazing community in Sacramento and how much we care about our unhoused neighbors and just all of the frustration and anger that was felt this morning when we heard about the deaths in our community. And just, you know, we're going to need you to help us get folks into these facilities. It's a lot of trust. It's a lot of, you know, communications and transportation. But I'm super confident that we're going to get there as long as we keep at this pace that we're at right now, which is frantic and is stressful, but is, I think, the right pace for us to be working at.
Can I add something, please? So
Yeah.
what you said was absolutely right. We need to be better coordinated. We don't have need it to be chaotic. There's lots of people wanting to help. That's why it's critical. It's critical that Bridget is involved in all this. And as we have people volunteering services and whatnot, I know many of your staff members are involved with different people in the community, but if it gets funneled through Bridget, she's going to be the clearinghouse. You know, earlier to the Vice Mayor's point about engaging the community to make sure that we hear their voices, I was reminded that there is an existing advisory committee that Bridget's been working with, standing up OCR, to deal with many of the items and issues we're talking about here. So I'd like to leave her the flexibility to determine that group that she works with, so that, you know, it doesn't become unruly, and then we get stuck in this mode where we're having lots of discussion and not having a lot of action.
Fine with me.
Thank
So,
you.
right. Good. Councilman Guerra, then I do have a couple of clarifying questions as well.
Yeah, I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, if we could also add Faye Kennedy from the Poor People's Campaign on that. She's been very helpful in helping us with the camps and as part of our District 6 working group on our city master plan. And then clarifying question here on the resolution for the city attorney. Does this allow for our city staff or the city manager to also send our city staff to private facilities? Because some of our church facilities are mainly mainly volunteers who are seniors and haven't been using their facilities because of that as well. So I want to figure out, can our city staff also help support the needs for those if they're willing to give up their space and location?
That's a different question, Councilmember Guerra, and we can look at that as we're kind of working on this around the clock anyways. Every iteration that's thrown at us, so we can keep up with what the council wants us to do. Certainly, the manager is able to deploy city staff and use of city resources towards this. So that's why it's just slightly different. But if the city were to open up a shelter at a private facility, then I think the answer is yes.
Okay, and to that point, then, if we had an issue with our city staff, then could you contract for that night, or to at least find the personnel to be able to assist with the 2 or 3 days, and then clean up after that?
Well,
Under this order.
that is the resources that the mayor was talking about earlier, this $1 million that can support some of these private sites if the city staff is not running the operation. So
No, well,
yes.
good. I mean, I just want to make sure that was clear, because I understood that there was the funds for even our locations, but I want to make sure that was clear in that point. And then because I know you mentioned in the motion, Madam Pro Temp here, that most of these facilities are in the central city, but that does very little for the edge of the city. So I want to make sure that if we do have a private facility that's on the edge of the city, on the in our near the county line, that we're able to execute that tonight versus just relying on the priority of our central city buildings as well.
The resolution and motion includes $1 million for a city manager for just that. So if you had a group in your district that just needed funding, they should, in theory, be able to reach out to the city staff, and if it's plausible, they should be able to move it forward. Now, also, the city manager did explain that there would be some transportation available for folks if they were on the edge and needed help. Mayor, I'll give that back to you if you want to add.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to sum it up on this point that Eric's asking, I think, a very important series of questions here that still need some work around how we relate to all of the offers that are being made by nonprofits and maybe even for-profits, but nonprofits around providing space. And I want to address that in a minute, but I have Councilmember Bang, were you up? I'm sorry. No.
I was. I think many of my colleagues asked the same questions that
Okay.
I was going to say. I think my focus here, one, I think the transportation piece is going to be critical, and I think Councilmember Harris touched upon that. I definitely also just want to emphasize that we are still in the middle of a global pandemic, and so we also need to make sure that as we move forward, that we do our best to mitigate the spread of COVID. I also just want to give a shout out to Pastor Les Simon. I had a conversation with him right after we got off our council, and he also stands ready to support where we can. And so, South Sac is ready to do what we got to do. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank staff for your hard work. The other thing I did want to ask is, have we looked at the convention center as well as a potential location?
We have not.
Memorial Auditorium.
Memorial Auditorium, right.
Is it possible, Howard, that we can reach out to see if that's possible as well?
I think, of course, it's possible, and that's what I mean. The list that I provided earlier that I talked about is a preliminary list. We're pulling it together. We're trying to get through this week. There's going to be a more exhaustive look, and to the extent we need to get to some of these larger facilities, we will do so. But if it's more efficient and more effective to expand motel voucher rooms, that's where we're going to put our resources, because that makes that's the gold standard, I think, is expanding these motel room vouchers, because then you're not having these congregate settings, then you're having people having their own restrooms and showers and things like that. But yes, we are looking at other facilities. The ones that I mentioned are the ones that we just came up with this morning.
Okay, and then one last question, and I think this, maybe you don't have the answer, but for the EO, the executive order, do we have a timeline when we'll get a confirmation for that? An estimated timeline?
The order's done already. We're just looking for guidance from FEMA.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's just like the coronavirus relief fund. That guidance took months to dribble out. So I don't know how quickly it's going to come out of FEMA.
Yeah.
That's why there's this balance about retroactivity and how much we spend. And, it's all, the mayor probably has more insight to this. We've reached out to our federal lobbyists, and they're, bird dogging it. As soon as we know anything, they're going to share it with us. Other cities in California are looking at it as well, large cities. So we're all just, fingers crossed.
Yeah, we will have clarity within several days, I believe. I think that's the time frame. This issue that Ergetta and other members are raising about the multiple offers that you are receiving and that I'm receiving from community leadership to open up their space, right? I just want to say in terms of, again, what the intent of the motion is, at least as far as I'm concerned. We do not have infinite amount of money, but we also do not have a limited finite amount of money. In other words, this FEMA thing is real, and we should have the intent of not saying no to anyone who offers us space to bring people indoors. Now, there needs to be criteria. We understand if it's unsafe, all that is, of course, appropriate. But we should not say no to anyone who is who is regarded, if you will, in the community and is offering help. So it's not enough, and I will praise all the great efforts. We opened 3 of our public facilities, but we don't have the time or the ability to get to all the offers that are being made. No, we want to get volumes of people indoors who want to come indoors. And if we can take care of people's storage issues, we'll get more people. We'll get more people indoors. And yes, it's temporary, but it will also serve as the bridge for our systemic initiatives to try to get people from the streets into longer term housing situations. But we want to grow to meet the need, not constrain from the very beginning. Okay, let's hear from the public. We got 8 callers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. May I have my first caller? Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Connie. I'm a resident in Midtown, and I am a community member of Neighbor Program, who go out every other week to serve our unhoused community. I do want to first start off by saying that we must refer to them as unhoused and not homeless, because that is a derogatory term and undermines them. What they are experiencing is houselessness, and the solution is simple: housing. And our city has the capacity to house our unhoused community. We have empty parcels, we have empty stadiums, we have empty dorms with 200 beds, and even empty hotels. And 200 vouchers is just not enough. This is a human rights issue, and according to the UN, folks have the right to decent housing, food, and clothing. And this is something that is our responsibility to prevent. We must prevent and bring solutions and not react. Last night should have not happened. We lost way too many lives yesterday. And it's your job and obligation and your choice to stop that from happening again. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
For your time. My name is Jordan. I'm a part of Neighbor Program. I'm calling in regards to solutions that can be put forth before the council. I know that hotel vouchers has been one of the big talking points, and that sounds great for a lot of folks. Neighbor Program is actually on the ground and works with folks every other week, and we provide meals. And so we've had these conversations with people about what is feasible, what do they need, what do they want. And what we found out is the hotel vouchers, number one, is not sustainable because people can't bring their belongings. They're not, it's not a long-term solution as far as, it's usually around 3 to 7 days at most. They're not able to bring, again, their belongings or any pets that they may have, and then they lose their position out on the street. And that can cause issues for them. We have a series of solutions that we have set forth, and we are making public. We're really hoping that you guys will look at them. It starts off with obviously the city-owned properties. We know that according to 2018, the city auditor said that The city owns about 2,000 parcels of land, so we'd love to see what that looks like and how we can get people housed in that. We also know that Sacramento State has dorms that currently aren't being used except for about 400 or 500 students, which means that those are a reliable source, and we could, again, use funding that will then go into Sac State to help rejuvenate them for their lost income during COVID and things like that. We also know that shelters or venues like, the former Arco or Sleep Train Arena or the Memorial Auditorium or the Convention Center, those are abandoned right now, essentially, with, not too many people going in and out of those, and those can be utilized for folks to keep them safe. And we also know that it's not a long-term solution, but it provides.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
We know that hotel vouchers are not feasible, and we know that people are dying on the street.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Hello, everyone. My name is Felisa. I'm a social worker and member of District 3. I have so much to say, but first and foremost, I want to say one, stop the sweep. Stop displacing unhoused folks, rob them of their tents, their blankets, their clothes, their food, and a safe space, so stop it. You as City Council have the power to do this, as you're the ones who oversee Bridget Dean and her team in charge of this, so stop the sweep immediately. 2, you need to take action today, as in folks need to be housed today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, today, tonight. Folks didn't make it to see today, and more won't make it to see tomorrow, and this blood is on your hands. This blood is on your hands because this could have been preventable. The weather is predictable. You could go online and see the weather for the next 30 days. So you should have known this was going to happen. This was preventable, and all the work that you ever do is reactionary. Also, 200 vouchers is not enough. There are 6,000 unhoused folks. So what about the 5,800 people left over? What about that? There are 3 viable solutions which are efficient in both housing, people, and financially. You need to either house these folks in vacant property owned by the city, you could house them at Sac State University, or you could house them in buildings such as Golden One Memorial or the Convention Center. No ifs, ands, or buts. Farming centers, shelters, and hotels are not enough. Sac State is the best solution right now. It has showers, it's fully furnished, it has Wi-Fi, and it costs just as much to provide housing at Sac State than it is to provide shelters for all unhoused folks for 2 nights. It's the same cost, it's the same price, and it's accessible by the bus and the light rail, and it will help the university make up the lost revenue due to the pandemic. Y'all, I really need you to do something today. People are unhoused now. It's cold outside, it's windy, and this blood is on.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
Also, I'm a part of the neighbor program. I didn't mention that. Power to the people.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Hi, my name is Chelsea. Last night I was laying in bed listening to the wind beating against my house, shaking my house. It was so loud in my house, and all I could think about was the thousands of people that were sleeping on the street, living through that, and they have nothing more than tents, nothing more than tarp, and we ignore them, and you treat them like they're not humans, like they don't deserve shelter. If you are on the city council and you're supposed to represent our city and represent the citizens of our city, you can't say you love the city when you don't love all of the people, and that includes the people that aren't paying taxes, that aren't participating in capitalism. It includes the people that are out there that are veterans, that are disabled, that are mentally ill, that are out there for whatever reason. It doesn't matter, but they're out there. And how can you let them be out there in these conditions, and not just these conditions? Through freezing temperatures, they were out there. Through hazardous air quality during the fires, they were out there. When it's triple-digit weather, they're out there. In a pandemic, they're out there. There are feasible options to get these people housed long-term. There are 2,000 beds available in Sac State dorms. There's Arco Arena Center, or Sleep Train, whatever it's called, that has been empty for years. So many humans could live in there. And there is no reason beyond these stupid policies that they are not. Please
use compassion, use your hearts, and do what your jobs are to take care of the residents of our city. Please, please do something. This is literally your job. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Long. I was born and raised in Oak Park, and I'm now a community social worker here in the neighborhood. I am calling to support the idea of motel vouchers. I agree that 200 is not enough. I receive phone calls every single day, many of them, people begging me for motel vouchers. So this is a good emergency solution. Of course, permanent housing is the real solution, but for now, the motel vouchers make a big difference. I want to reiterate what Katie Valenzuela said about centralizing information on 211. It is so difficult to, as a social worker, to connect people with resources. So I really hope that the council will prioritize the referral process. I also want to second the importance of transportation. I think lift codes are especially effective because the social worker can call someone a ride to get where they need to get immediately, whereas cabs or other kinds of buses, city transportation are not as effective or realistic. The idea that in the rain and wind, somebody with all of their belongings would get on a city bus is absurd. I also just want to remind you, these are people. They have kids and dogs. Many have cars, but their cars are unsafe or not warm enough to sleep in. And so please think through the importance of attending to all of the pieces of someone's life, including their pets, their belongings, those kinds of things. I think the idea of including Loaves and Fishes and other community leaders who understand the homeless experience and who can advise you on how to accommodate people's needs is a really good idea. Please push for more than 200 vouchers or however many vouchers you think you need, double it, because the need is.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
Please house people. It's a crisis. Folks are dying.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Hi, my name is Nikki. I'm so thankful for some of the urgency I hear in today's meeting, though I can't help but be devastated that this meeting could have and should have happened last night. And instead, we got an hours-long item of police propaganda to whitewash the torture that SAC PD and specifically the impact team have regularly engaged in on this community you are concerned with today for years. I hope that this will resonate with you also for years, the way the loss of people that I know and love living outside has pushed my work for years. I'll say that people need shelter and housing, not just warming centers. I'd like to remind the mayor that he's served for years of these cold winters. This is not your first. Your outrage is not impressive. Did you need last night's storm and death to really get us to this point? Have not the deaths throughout the years been enough? We don't just need vouchers, we need motels. We need all of them now. We don't have to watch our neighbors die this way. We need to stop all displacement, recognizing the immense health and safety danger that this has put our neighbors, our unhoused neighbors at, compared to a block sidewalk or trash you could pick up yourselves, that the folks living outside would help you do, but instead you clear away everything that they have. And what the best you do after years of pressure is a few motel vouchers that last 3 to 7 nights when people then end up back outside. Where are the folks in Alhambra? Are they back outside? There's this model is a model of torture. And it's a,
Thank you for your comments. Your
reactionary,
time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
yeah, do better.
Thank you for your
Do better.
comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Matthew Bridges, and I'm a volunteer with Sacramento Stoop calling in. Thank you all for holding this meeting today, and thank you all for your attention to our neighbors outside. I want to remind you all and also really ask that you listen and center the lived experiences and needs of people who are living outside in these conversations. Those conversations can be happening right now as we speak, as folks are in warming centers, as folks are interacting with various services. There needs to be like constantly being informed by what people actually need, because if not, then I don't think that what the city is providing and are actually going to be effective in the long run. And that includes really having a trauma and healing informed lens. And also being aware that many individuals have significant trauma in actually interacting with systems, be that carceral systems or be that social safety net systems. And oftentimes there's a lot of trauma associated with that. And that can pose a really huge barrier for people in accessing services. I also want to say we're talking a lot about motel vouchers, but we're not talking about what kinds of resources people have available to them during that 7-day or 3-day motel stay, because oftentimes individuals are in motels and they're isolated. Even though they have a warm place to sleep, they have a shower, but they're isolated. They don't have access to food, from my understanding, or any kind of personalized care or medical mental health resources, case management. And I know that's just a temporary fix, but I'd really like to see a little bit more support for individuals who are inside those motels. And I think the option to have a longer term stay is really great. But also the issue is then folks are treated like their hosts, like their motel
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
Thank you. Yes, we need urgent action on this now. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Thanks. Hey, so I'm calling in to say that first off, winter comes every year at the same time, and deadly storms like this are predictable weeks in advance. It's ridiculous and insulting that there is a meeting about this in the middle of the storm. There's no real reason that thousands of people should be living on the streets. The city has the means to provide shelter to every single person, and there are an abundance of city-owned structures that remain vacant circumstantially, seasonally, or even year-round. The Sacramento State dorms have thousands of vacant beds available, as there are roughly 4,500 students currently living on campus. And furthermore, Sacramento has several large enclosed venues that can be utilized to provide shelter. The Sacramento Memorial Auditorium, the Sleep Trainer Arco Arena, the Golden One Center, and the SAC Convention Center are all perfectly viable options that frankly should have already been set up to address this crisis. This is a life or death situation, and these facilities being available to house and protect people is the bare minimum. Please do something about this situation, and please do it now. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Hello, and thank you for your time. My name is Catherine. I'm a third-year law student, resident of Council District 5, and a lifelong resident of Sacramento. I would like to address the cleanup of the camp on Alhambra Boulevard near X Street by Forensic Clean that was publicized by Black Zebra Productions about 3 weeks ago. What was captured was Forensic Clean forklifting and fully clearing a very intricate and elaborately crafted camp community into dumpster trucks. The camp included tents and tarp overhangings and were basically fairly impressive little homes inside. Regardless of whether these were actually abandoned, which is what was claimed, these camps contain valuable materials that could have been repurposed by others. No matter what effort is made to get people into motels and shelters, there will still be people who fall through the cracks and remain on the streets. Therefore, I cannot rationalize why a fully set up and ingeniously crafted community would be scraped into the garbage. If the argument or concern in favor of such removal is that the presence of such camps increases local property crime, it doesn't make sense to destroy them because the houseless folks and their demand for protection from the elements remain. So if you are destroying what people have already collected and perhaps stolen to help themselves survive, you will only force them to collect and steal additional supplies because the demand remains. The city must condemn such actions. I was ashamed and deeply saddened by what I witnessed. I understand using city contracts to clean trash, biohazards, and the levees, but not camps that were fully capable of being repurposed for those who remain on the streets. As my final comment, I think it is treacherous to have such cleaning companies be dispatched by Sac Sheriff or local police. I think it's a conflict of interest. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Thank you. So most of my points have already been brought up, so I don't want to beat a dead horse. All I have to say is that, Mayor Steinberg, I want you to imagine what these deaths feel like. These people are dying of hypothermia. These people are out in the cold. They have no shelter. These are not quick deaths. These are long, painful, slow deaths. And if you do, and every single death while you are in office is on your hands. Every single one of them. You are a spineless cockroach. And I cannot understand how you don't get that these people are dying and that hotel vouchers will not save them. They will get a little bit of time off the street, but they will still be unhoused the second they have to leave that hotel. They will still have no place to live the second they leave. They will still have no food the second they have to leave said hotels. And by your own estimates, there are 6,000 people on the streets on any night. And you want to give out, I believe, 200 vouchers? There will be deaths, and they will be on your hands. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Hello, my name is Emily Fisher. I live in District 6, and I'm calling to suggest using the available arenas around the Sacramento area to house people. Between the Arco Arena, the Memorial Auditorium, Golden One Center, and the Convention Center, a large portion of the unhoused population could receive shelter while maintaining social distance guidelines. I know it's a concern right now with the pandemic, but because of the large buildings, that way we could space people out. The storm is a matter of life and death for the 6,000 unhoused community members, and I urge you to do everything in your power to protect them. There are also approximately 2,000 vacant beds available at the Sacramento State dorms, and there's, of course, the dozens of available vacant parcels with buildings and structures which could be used to provide temporary shelter. This is an urgent need that needs to be met immediately in order to save lives. I'm a volunteer with Neighbor Program as well, and I'm terrified that the next time we go out to serve the community, I'm going to find friends and people that I deeply, deeply care about dead from this storm. These are people that I love so much, and I am begging you to do everything that you can to save their lives tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Hi,
My name is Johanna Heyer. I am a doctoral candidate at UC Davis in environmental engineering and a former resident of District 4. And I just wanted to, I think people have already addressed the extreme urgency around getting people inside as quickly as possible. And some people have brought up the issue or the possibility of using venues such as the Golden One Center and large arenas. And I hear that, and I appreciate your acknowledgement of the risk related to COVID transmission in those populations. And I just wanted to bring up that, from researchers in my field, I study air quality, are really clear that this is an airborne virus. And it seems that, we've caught up in respect of wearing masks, right, to prevent transmission, but the other key factor is ventilation. And I think that that's something that could be used to try to make some of these venues more viable, especially with some of that FEMA funding. You could invest in making some of these large venues that could be used more quickly. They're obviously not a long-term solution, but if we just need to get people inside tonight, which I think we all agree that we do, improving the ventilation and, also working on mask wearing can make some of those venues at least limit some of the risk of COVID transmission. I believe that Councilmember Valenzuela has my email address. I'd be happy to forward some materials on this, and there are some really low-cost solutions that can significantly reduce the risk. Finally, I want to just add on sort of another note that I hope that some of the urgency that we saw, particularly from Mayor Steinberg last night at the meeting, can translate into longer-term housing solutions. This is, an acute manifestation of a chronic problem that is years in the making. And when I see, the way that things like the tenant protection program and other housing programs in the city are ignored and dismissed, it's really it makes me take less seriously.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is
meeting.
complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
Yeah, I hope that we can, pay attention to both risk from COVID and from the extreme risk of people being outside right now.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Thank you. As a resident of District 4, I really have to just say that it's ridiculous that the city has to constantly react to this and oftentimes runs to housing advocates to basically cover their asses and save people's lives when the city should have been acting proactively to do this stuff. You have an emergency, with this emergency declaration, I'm wondering whether the city intends to actually think bolder and not just rely on getting people into a few hotels with vouchers, but actually dig deep and looks at a number of the vacant city-owned properties that the city has, which according to the auditor's report from August 2019, that's the earliest I can find, there are 105 vacant properties that are owned by the city that if they're buildings, you could just let people stay in there during the course of this storm. It's not hard. Just open them up, direct people to the property addresses, and let them stay indefinitely. Because you're not just dealing with one crisis right now. You're dealing with multiple crises, a pandemic right now. We need bigger, bold ideas than what is currently being offered, and you have the resources at your disposal. So, what's stopping you? I know of two properties right now, abandoned buildings that were formerly owned by Sutter Hospital or Sutter Health or whatever, on 13th and U, that are more than big enough to house dozens of families, dozens of people, even just temporarily. We should do that. Furthermore, I'd love to know how many privately owned buildings are lying vacant that haven't been occupied for years in Sacramento City. What's stopping the city? And I would love it if city council could the city attorney could actually answer this question for the council.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
I'd like to know what's stopping the city council from using its powers of eminent domain.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. This is Kathy Cresswell from District 4. And on behalf of the Sacramento Housing Alliance, I want to thank you for proposing and for hopefully taking this emergency action. We can't accept one more death in the city when we can prevent it. And getting warming centers open throughout the city every night for the rest of this winter and beyond is absolutely critical. And it'll be important that the warming centers also have access to referrals for services, and that it's coupled with all the other efforts you're taking to create permanent supportive housing, so people have places to go, and permanent and accessible and affordable places. You're also, the ideas that people have talked about in terms of ensuring great transportation and making sure that this information is getting out broadly in the community is critical. But we have to act now, and so I urge complete support for getting this action taken immediately and ensuring we have no more deaths in the city. Thank you for pulling this together and for hopefully making sure we have no more deaths. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Rose Cabral, District 6 here. I am glad that this meeting is happening, for sure. It definitely needed to happen a long time ago. I know a lot of people have already talked about that, so I won't dwell on that. I wanted to mention some other things that may be helpful, and I don't know if they were already talked about, but parking garages. I know a lot of those are empty right now, and vacant lots. I mean, if we have camps and people already set up in a vacant lot, then perhaps we can support them with tarps and tents to help ensure that they are safe for tonight. At least it's getting dark, and I know there's a lot of people out trying to at least help with tarps. I know that for COVID, restaurants were given heaters and tents, so I don't see why this would be any different, right? We're trying to, and for that, they were trying to make sure people could go eat safely. And so for this, we're trying to make sure people don't die on the street. So I know that we want better housing for people, but at least for tonight, like, let's just make sure people are warm and safe. Also, empty buildings, empty warehouses. If there's any people listening that have them, maybe they can open them up. And I know that, as was mentioned, the city may own some as well. I also wanted to highlight the Sacramento Homeless Union, Sac Soup, and the Poor People's Campaign. They're the ones that have actually been doing the work. So they're all volunteers. They're doing this work. So I think it's really important to tap into them because they know who all of these unhoused people are, and they have relationships with them, and they can really mobilize people to get things done. So we need to start planning today for next winter, but we also need to just make sure that nobody else dies tonight. I mean, I've heard Councilmember Valenzuela already at 2 meetings have to say that somebody in her district died on the street, and that should be unacceptable. We should not be okay with that.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
We have to do better.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Cassandra Jennings, and I'm the President and CEO of the Greater Sacramento Urban League. The Urban League has offices in Del Paso Heights and Oak Park. I'm a resident of District 7. I'm on the board of Sacramento Steps Forward. I have been an active member of Winter Sanctuary for too many years to name, and I'm a member of the St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of our senior pastor, Kenneth Reese, and our emeritus pastor, Dr. Ephraim Williams. I first of all want to say that I want to applaud the efforts of Mayor Steinberg for all the the activities and all the policy development that he's done for homelessness. I don't think that it's anybody in this state that has done more and put more effort into trying to address our unhoused and our homeless population. I'm here today to tell you that I wrestled all night about the situation that we faced last night and today. I'm sure many of you did, and I know you were working fiercely. So I am here to say thank you for leaning in all the way on this urgent and emergency issue. I just want to make 2 points. One is the Winter Sanctuary. I'm glad that you're opening this emergency effort up to nonprofits as well as churches. And the fact that we are in COVID, I think and we'll have smaller groups, I think it's important to have places all across the city so that we can be most effective. It's winter, it's cold, and our first priority right now should be to get people out of the bad weather. Secondly, and I heard that in the speakers before, I think it is important at any chance possible that we need to connect them to other services. This is not the end-all be-all, but it's a very important step now, and I hope that we will be able to connect them to services. I say let's go forward with your plan. Let's not waste any more time now. We're
Thank
at
you
this
for your
place to
comments.
have a
Your
good
time is
plan.
complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
And thank you. We will do all we can to support it, and I will be volunteering as well, and I've sent the information to Bridget. Thank you
Thank
very
you for your
much.
comments. Next caller, please. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Yeah, this is Richard Wake, City Council, District 5. You know, I would just like to point out that this has not only happened during the winter time, this has happened too during extreme heat when people were choking to death from the fires that were raging through where all the smoke was pouring into the valley. You know, I've been watching this since mid-2016. And, you know, I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of litany of things here, but I will say this. Over 2.5 years ago, Kimberly Church gave the entire city council a comprehensive list of all the vacant properties in Sacramento with a company that built tiny homes for $5,000 each. Prior to that, Councilmember Alan Warren presented a very detailed plan, which was also presented at our fundraiser that we had for homeless youth in Rancho Cordova that was very, very detailed, and that was also brushed off. So what we've been doing is we've been moving through here a litany of things that have been where reasonable suggestions have been given to the council over and over and over and over again, and they've been blown off. You know, I agree with everything everybody said about the police department. You know, homeless encampments are being broken up on Stockton Boulevard in the name of rich developers that are owned, one of which is being managed by personal friends of a couple of the members of the city council. And that's not right. And in turn, when other people are being told that nothing can be done, we're living in crap down here in Southland Park. And yes, Jay, you've done nothing about that. Nothing. Zero. Nada. We have people defecating in front of our houses. We have windows getting smashed out. The owner of Land Park Florist was threatened at knife point. Windows have been smashed out of cars and car windows, and windshields have been smashed out. Also at Flores Restaurant and Mike's Liquors. How much longer are we going to have to live in fear?
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Will you make your final comment, please?
Yes, you guys need to get busy and get people in these shelters and clean up the mess here in Southland
Thank
Park.
you for your comments. Next caller, please. Welcome to the meeting. You have 2 minutes to address the council.
Hi, I'm calling because I want to, my name is Luis Fernando. I am a member of ACE. I'm also a resident here in District 6. I'm calling because yesterday I was part of the city council. I was watching, and I just want to say, Mayor Steinberg, I'm glad that you had your eureka moment and you had a little outburst saying that, oh yes, we care about the homeless population. However, and then you shut down the conversation, which was really important, discussing the role the police plays in these sweeps. I'm glad that you had your little, burst Now I want to see that turn into action and actually house people that are dying. Again, I heard the councilwoman, Katie Valenzuela, 2 times has said that homeless and unhoused individuals have died in her district. How shameful. On top of that, I want to say that you guys need to stop these damn sweeps. It's been enough. I was trying, this also goes to you, Laloe. I have been talking to my city council, and I have been engaging with my unhoused communities. I had a lady here who wasn't housed. I was trying to get her into the Meadowview Center, and then a police person came, told her to move. I was trying to get her help, and then now I don't know where she is, and now she's gone. And I wish I could have helped her, and I wish I could have done more. But again, this shouldn't be the job of the community. It should be your damn job. Why haven't you done more? Why do you have to wait for people to die? It's unacceptable. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should do a better job. You should have been doing a better job for months. We've been saying that we need to house people for months. Have you been deaf? Where have you been? Jesus Christ.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Mayor, I have no more callers.
Mindy, Mayor, if I could really quick, this is from Joe Smith from Loaves and Fishes, who you mentioned last night. He sent me a text because he was cut off during the public comment. His call was just dropped. I think it was an electric issue. He wanted to thank you, Mayor, specifically for your comments last night and for your action today. He says, I was cut off when I was on hold to make a public comment, but please let them know that I am grateful to the council and grateful that you are all moving forward with this emergency declaration right now. And he wants us to know that whatever he can do to help, please let him know, and that we have his phone number. Okay. You're on mute, Mayor. Mayor, you're on. Yeah.
Sorry, thank you for reading that. I'm sorry, Joe, that you got cut off. I know you're out there helping people. Council members Valenzuela and Laloe, final comments, and we're voting. We've got to get done by 5 o'clock. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you everybody for calling in on such short notice. I appreciate the engagement in this really urgent issue. I do want to clarify, based on the comments, my understanding of what we're doing tonight, because I think that's really important, because we're no longer talking about 3 to 7 day vouchers for hotels. I mean, if this FEMA reimbursement is real, we're talking about the next 8 months. And we're not just talking about 200, we're starting at 200. We're talking about scaling up. And if there's sites that you have, I mean, I've put out the call to the business community. They're responding with site ideas, with new places that they want us to look at to bring into the fold. And it's not just for folks who don't have pets or who don't have families. Like, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. And there's some differences between the way the county administers their system, and we obviously can't account for that, but the way we've been doing it with the food, with the outreach, with the being able to extend, we're going to ramp that up to 10. I appreciate the frustration. I feel the frustration in my bones. But every journey starts with a step, and that's exactly what tonight is. If we can ramp up the hotel vouchers, if folks can stay there for the next 8 months, if they can store their stuff, like Councilmember Guerra and others have talked about, if we can case manage them and work with CDOs to get the services and the support that they need while they're there to transition out, this could be a game changer for us when it comes to case management, when it comes to building relationships with folks and getting them into the right services. So I just want to make super clear that for me, this is not just what you may have seen in the community as service providers and folks doing outreach. This is going to be different. And it's our commitment to keep scaling that up. And I think what you're hearing in terms of the site volunteers, it's not enough. We don't have 10,000 spaces for 10,000 folks yet. And that's the commitment, right? Is like send us those sites. I'm getting emails right now from like churches and service providers that are like, hey, we've got a place, hey, maybe this, and it might take a little bit of piecemealing together, but like, that's exactly what this declaration is about, is like, let's piece it together. Let's give the city manager the authority and the resources so that we can get every single person safe now, so that we can work on the housing element policies. We can work on the shelter opportunities. We can get those housing units available. But I want you keep pushing us, keep bringing those ideas, because that's exactly what we need right now. Is we need you to say, hey, what about Sac State? Because right now we're talking about Sac State, right? It's just like, this is how momentum starts. And so I just want to recognize your frustration and the sense of urgency, and really say, for me, that's what this does. I respect if you don't have faith or trust in that, but like, I am committed to this. I know my colleagues are committed to this. And I just wanted to say that. And I want to commend Bridget and Danielle. I think like this is, when I've talked to them, I've learned a lot about what's happening and not happening in the voucher programs and what we're trying to do. And I think scaling this right now, using this FEMA money, we could do this in Sacramento. We could get everybody indoors in the next month if we can really do this. And this motion and this reso is putting us on the path to getting that started. So thank you, Mayor, for letting me make those comments.
Councilman Laloy.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I just got a text. I'm very proud to say there are 1,700 32-ounce soups that are on different cars being delivered to different camps as we speak, so we can help some of the unhoused tonight. And I really appreciate the public calling in with their suggestions. But I also like to put a challenge out there for tonight. And again, I'm very proud of our my colleagues that we're looking at something that we can definitely make happen. The challenge is we cannot house everybody tonight, but we can go out and buy some hot food or a blanket or a jacket and deliver it out, so we don't have something that happened last night repeat itself. I'm very proud of the staff that put 1,700 soups together as they're getting delivered to unhoused individuals within District 2. And I urge individuals that are listening to this to do the same thing within your own district. And if there is an encampment, go and get some food or blanket and just deliver it. So at least tonight, we'll get through tonight as these shelters and hotel vouchers come to life. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to let Pro Tem Ashby close it out. One real quick thing. I just want to say, appreciate everybody's engagement, especially as Jay Chenier suggested that we reach out to the community leadership and devising a plan. All right on, but I don't want to slow down Howard in any way and his team. In other words, formality is sort of less important than just going out and getting the work done and communicating with all those people and more in the best way that you can, in the most iterative way, but we want to free you up to go, okay? Angelique, before we vote.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to close this out by saying, first of all, thank you to my colleagues, every single one of you, for contributing meaningfully to this resolution. And really want to say thank you. And I want people to understand that what we've just done here is ask our staff to do more than we were already asking them to do already during a pandemic where they're pushed. And I'm really proud of them. And I mean, the people in parks who are going to help us make this happen, the people in the police department, our city manager staff, Bridget Dean, everybody who's going to help make this work. And to Howard Chan and Mindy and Susanna Alcala, other cities can't do this because other cities don't have people who work 24 hours all night. And most importantly, we're in this meeting today and we have this resolution in place because the mayor and the vice mayor called a meeting first thing this morning to make sure that we would all be here to do this. Everyone had concerns, but those two pulled this together this morning, pulled together the staff and helped write the resolution. So it's very important to acknowledge that. A lot of people want to call in and say things that are helpful and positive, and we all really appreciate that. And even criticism sometimes can be very helpful to help push us along. But I think some of the blame here is misplaced. I watched a mayor and a vice mayor fight all night long from about 10 o'clock last night until 10 o'clock this morning to make this happen today. It doesn't just go. There's a process, and to be able to move $1 million is a big deal. So, and we wouldn't even have that $1 million if other decisions hadn't been made around Measure U and battles fought a year ago. So I'm just proud to be sitting where we are, to have the resources and move and be able to step in whether this is another jurisdiction's issue or not, be damned. We're here now and we're going to do everything we can to help as many people as we can. And I'm proud to be part of this team with all of you. I'm proud of our staff.
One family, one community, one city. Thank you. Let's call the roll, please.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Ashby?
Yes.
Councilmember Laloy?
Aye.
Councilmember Harris?
Aye.
Councilmember Valenzuela?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chenier?
Aye.
Councilmember Guerra?
Aye.
Councilmember Jennings?
Aye.
Councilmember Vang?
Yes.
And Mayor Steinberg.
Aye. Thank you. That's 9-0. Thank you. to the team. Let's get to work. We're all here to help. And big things and relief ahead for many people. Thank you all so much. We're adjourned.